Neji. Neji Hyuga was one of the earliest geniuses introduced in the series. From a young age, he showed exceptional talent compared to his peers, even outshining Hinata, the official heir of the Hyuga clan. If not for the restrictions of the main branch and side branch system, he might have reached even greater heights. Neji's talent was most evident in his mastery of the Byakugan and Gentle Fist. His skills were undeniable. Not only was he stronger than his fellow genin, but he was also on par with the clan's top fighters. The most impressive part, he mastered 8 Trigrams palms, Revolving Heaven, all on his own, a technique that was supposed to be exclusive to the main branch. No one taught him, no one guided him, he figured it out by himself. Beyond just talent, Neji was a sharp and formidable fighter. During the Chunin exams, he mercilessly crushed Hinata, yeah, at least at that point, and almost put Naruto to sleep early. If not for the main character buff. He also managed to defeat one of the Sound Four, despite his opponent being a hard counter to him with powerful long-range attacks. Later on, we saw him fully master all of the Hyuga clan's techniques, repeatedly spamming Revolving Heaven in battle. Unfortunately, Neji's fate was cut short. Truly, a forgotten genius. If you've made it this far, congratulations, you've awakened the chakra of truth. But to become a true ninja, you need to take action. First, hit like to release your chakra. Every like is a burst of energy that makes this video stronger, just like a direct Rasengan hit. Next, press subscribe so you won't wander like a nameless ninja. Join the Hidden Leaf Village today, and become a comrade on the shinobi path. And finally, turn on notifications, just like how a Byakugan is always on alert, so you never miss a video uncovering the deepest secrets of the anime world. Next, Namikaze Minato. Yeah, the yellow flash of the leaf. From the very beginning of his ninja journey, he was recognized as a once-in-a-generation genius. Even as a child, Minato showed all the qualities of a true prodigy. Despite not coming from any prestigious clan, this blonde-haired kid was always at the top of his class at the Ninja Academy, leaving both teachers and classmates wondering, how is this guy so good? Jiraiya recognized his potential and even once believed that Minato might be the child of prophecy. He's just so good. He could completely outplay the world with the Flying Thunder God technique. Originally created by the second Hokage, this jutsu was already powerful. But Minato didn't just use it, he made it his signature move. If Tobirama used Flying Thunder God for surprise attacks, Minato took it to another level, using it to toy with his enemies like a true speed god. In his fight against Obito, it took him only a few seconds to analyze Kamui's mechanics, figure out its weakness, and teleport right in front of him, landing a Rasengan that Obito would never forget. His opponents might have been strong, but Minato was always one step ahead, literally. Beyond his speed, Minato was also an incredible innovator. He was the one who created the Rasengan, a legendary technique that later became Naruto's signature move. Inspired by the tailed beast bomb, Minato developed a powerful jutsu that didn't require hand seals. Unfortunately, he never had the chance to complete it by adding elemental chakra. But even in its basic form, the Rasengan was strong enough to blow away anyone who got hit. Some people argue that because Minato wasn't from a major clan, he was only powerful because he trained extremely hard. But in reality, there's no evidence that he had to work harder than anyone else to reach his level. He wasn't the type to do 10,000 push-ups every day like Guy. He was just pure talent. On top of that, Minato was highly skilled in sealing techniques and thought far ahead, making sure to seal Kurama in a way that maintained Konoha's military balance against other villages. Sadly, Minato's story was one of tragedy. If he had lived, he could have achieved even greater things. But at least we got to see him spamming Flying Thunder God, Rasengan, entering Kurama mode, and even using Sage mode when he was summoned with Edo Tensei. Uchiha Itachi. Itachi was one of the greatest geniuses in Konoha's history, a once-in-a-century prodigy of the Uchiha clan. He wasn't just an exceptional fighter. His intelligence, strategic thinking, and vision were on a completely different level, something that very few could ever match. Even as a child, Itachi was a complete monster in the eyes of other shinobi. At just 4 years old, he had already witnessed the horrors of war and spent time analyzing the true nature of peace. Yeah, you could say he had the mindset of a Hokage. By the age of 7, He graduated from the Ninja Academy with one of the highest scores in history, second only to Minato, and awakened his Sharingan just a year later, while most kids his age were still struggling to throw shuriken properly. By 11, he was recruited into the Anbyu and quickly became a captain. Itachi's genius wasn't just about strength, it was about intelligence and tactical awareness. He had an unbelievable ability to read situations and predict his opponent's moves far ahead of time. A perfect example is his battle against Sasuke, where he orchestrated the entire fight from start to finish, even planning his own death in a way that would push Sasuke in the direction he wanted. He even implanted Shisui's eye into Naruto as a backup plan for the future. And even in death, he had already set everything in place so that Sasuke could continue down his path. Who could do all this and not be considered a genius? When it comes to ninjutsu, Itachi was a true master of genjutsu. He could end fights quickly and effortlessly just by using his illusion techniques. He even defeated Orochimaru and took one of his arms using nothing but genjutsu. Shisui Uchiha. Other clans may produce geniuses as rarely as autumn leaves falling, but for the Uchiha, every generation has its prodigies. In the same era as Itachi, we must mention Shisui, a shinobi whose time in this world was far too short. Like Itachi, Shisui was not only an incredibly powerful ninja, but also a man with deep ideals and a noble heart, placing the village's well-being above himself and his clan. From a young age, he was recognized as an exceptional genius. He was unbelievably fast, so fast that he earned the title Shisui of the Body Flicker, with movements so swift that enemies could only see after images before being taken down. He even awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan before Itachi. However, speed wasn't the most terrifying thing about Shisui. He possessed Koto Amatsukami, one of the most powerful genjutsu in the ninja world. Unlike Itachi's Tsukuyomi, which traps victims in illusions of torment, Koto Amatsukami allowed Shisui to control others without them even realizing they were being manipulated. And I know many people tend to overlook this one. Uchiha Sasuke. When talking about Sasuke, it's impossible not to mention a truly well-rounded genius, excelling in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. Even as a child, he was seen as Konoha's golden boy, someone everyone expected to carry on the legendary legacy of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke's natural talent was evident from his time at the academy. He was always at the top of his class, mastering ninja skills quickly and impressing everyone around him. When he joined Team 7, he carried the team in many battles. During his fight against Haku, he awakened his Sharingan in a life-or-death situation and reacted so fast that he could dodge high-speed ice mirror attacks. But Sasuke's genius wasn't just about the Sharingan. It was his insane ability to learn and develop new jutsu at a terrifying speed. In a short time under Kakashi's guidance, he mastered Chidori, a high-level technique. Then, after leaving the village and training under Orochimaru, he took Chidori even further, developing multiple powerful variations of it in an incredibly short period. In terms of taijutsu, Sasuke possessed incredible speed and reflexes. From the very beginning, he was already highly skilled in close combat. But after awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan, he reached an entirely new level with Amaterasu, Susanoo, and powerful Genjutsu. And after receiving the power of the 6 paths, Sasuke was practically on the level of a god. Even though he was a genius, Sasuke had his fair share of questionable moments that everyone remembers. From wanting to destroy the village, flexing his Sharingan at the second Hokage, to thinking he could single-handedly carry the entire world after defeating Kaguya. But that arrogance is exactly what made Sasuke's journey so compelling, because he wasn't just a genius, but a real person, full of emotions, growing and evolving along the way. Hatake Kakashi. When people talk about the strongest ninjas in Konoha, Kakashi is always at the top. With his constantly sleepy expression, few would expect that behind it lies a brilliant tactical mind and top-tier skills. From a young age, Kakashi proved himself to be a true prodigy. He graduated from the academy at just 5 years old, became a Chunin at 6, then a Jonin at 13, all while creating his own jutsu, Chidori. Under the guidance of Namikaze Minato, Kakashi quickly became one of the most talented ninja of his generation. But during this time, the tragedies of his life also began. Losing his best friend Obito, receiving the Sharingan, and later witnessing Rin's death. With the Sharingan, Kakashi went from a genius to an absolute monster. Despite not having Uchiha blood, he mastered the Sharingan to the point where he was known as the copy ninja, having copied over 1,000 different jutsu. This made him an unpredictable opponent in battle. No one ever knew what jutsu he would use next. Beyond being a ninjutsu genius, Kakashi was also a master strategist. Whether in small duels or high-level battles, he could read situations instantly and come up with the best course of action. His taijutsu, even without opening the 8 gates, was on par with Might Guy, and his intelligence could easily rival Shikamaru's. And of course, he eventually became the 6th Hokage. Nara Shikamaru. If there's a ninja who can defeat enemies using only his brain, it's definitely Nara Shikamaru. With an IQ over 200, superior tactics, and the ability to read situations faster than I can meet a deadline, Shikamaru is the definition of a strategic genius. From a young age, Shikamaru showed he was different. While his friends trained hard to get stronger, he preferred to sleep, play shogi, and watch clouds. But don't let his lazy attitude fool you. Once he takes a fight seriously, he can turn everything into a chessboard and his opponents into pieces to move as he pleases. During the Chunin exams, he was the only one in Naruto's generation to be promoted, simply because his intelligence was too far ahead. Even when facing Temari, a ninja with superior combat skills, he still won through pure strategy. And that final surrender? It wasn't because he was weak, it was just because he was too lazy to keep fighting. Shikamaru's analytical skills and strategic mind reached genius levels in real battles. When fighting Hidan, an immortal opponent, he not only discovered his weakness, but also crafted the perfect plan to take him down, completely trapping and burying him alive. A true tactical genius doesn't just find a way to win, he ensures the enemy never gets a chance to fight back. His battles don't rely on flashy jutsu or explosive action. Instead, they create suspense and curiosity, keeping the audience on edge, wondering what move he will make next. Although he initially just wanted to live a peaceful life, Shikamaru proved that a genius cannot avoid responsibility forever. After Asuma's death, he matured quickly and became one of the most important strategic ninjas in the Hidden Leaf. In short, Nara Shikamaru is not just a tactical genius, but also a natural leader. No matter how lazy he may seem, when the situation calls for it, he will always step up and carry the team. Orochimaru. If there were a title for the most terrifying genius in Naruto, Orochimaru would definitely be at the top. From a young age, Orochimaru was recognized by Hiruzen Sarutobi as a rare genius. He learned ninjutsu at an alarming speed, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. But what made him truly dangerous was his limitless curiosity. If you think Kakashi copying 1,000 jutsu was impressive, Orochimaru wanted to learn every jutsu in existence. That ambition alone shows how insane he was. Beyond his talent in ninjutsu, Orochimaru was also a scientist obsessed with human experimentation. He started researching forbidden techniques, modifying bodies, and developing horrifying reincarnation methods. The result? He created a body-switching technique to extend his lifespan, implanted the first Hokage's DNA into Danzo, enabled Yamato to use wood release, and perfected Edo Tensei, a resurrection jutsu so powerful it changed the course of war. Even as a genius, Orochimaru wasn't immune to some educational defeats. He was crushed when he tried to take Itachi's eyes, betrayed and killed by his own favorite child, Sasuke, right in his own lair. But like a true snake, Orochimaru never truly dies. He always finds a way to return, each time coming back as an even more terrifying version of himself. Though he was a villain, there's no denying that Orochimaru was one of the greatest geniuses in Naruto's history. He pushed beyond human limits, created countless powerful jutsu, and even left behind a legacy through Mitsuki, a perfect clone of himself. Rock Lee. Rock Lee is the genius of hard work. He has no ninjutsu, no genjutsu, but in return, he has an iron will and punches strong enough to make his opponents disappear instantly. From a young age, Lee was at a disadvantage, unable to use ninjutsu or genjutsu, while his teammates could fight with chakra. But instead of giving up, he chose the path of taijutsu, a difficult road, but one that turned him into a legend. Under the guidance of Guy Sensei, who was just as passionate, Rock Lee trained relentlessly, transforming his body into a true fighting machine. The first moment that proved Lee was a genius was his fight against Gaara in the Chunin exams. While most ninja relied on chakra in battle, Lee showed that taijutsu alone could dominate. In Part 1, not many people had the ability to kick Gaara in the face like that. The entire arena was in shock. If not for Gaara's overpowered sand defense, he would have lost long ago. But what makes Lee truly admirable is his unbreakable will. After Gaara crushed him, doctors said he would never be a ninja again. But Lee refused to accept that fate, pushing himself to train and recover at an unbelievable speed. By the Fourth Great Ninja War, not only had he fully recovered, but he had become stronger than ever, so much so that even Kakashi acknowledged him as a taijutsu genius. A character full of energy and inspiration, isn't he? Sakura Haruno. Sakura is one of the most controversial characters in Naruto, but if we put aside all biases, we have to admit that she is a true genius in her field. From a young age, Sakura stood out with her sharp intellect, analytical skills, and precise chakra control. You can see this in how she completed the written exam in the Chunin exams on her own and mastered the tree climbing exercise on her first try. These abilities allowed her to learn jutsu faster and more efficiently than many others. Sakura's biggest turning point was when she was personally trained by Tsunade, the fifth Hokage. In just a few years, she became a top-tier medical ninja, capable of performing complex surgeries, developing antidotes, and even mastering the strength of 100 technique, an S-rank ability that even Shizune couldn't use. Without exaggeration, Sakura is the best medical ninja of her generation, and one of the few people capable of healing almost any injury. Under Tsunade's training, Sakura didn't just excel in medical ninjutsu. She also gained monstrous physical strength. Her punches can destroy the ground and send enemies flying in an instant. This power was recognized by many, including the opponents she faced. In the end, the once weak little girl became one of the most important shinobi in the Allied forces and confidently fought alongside her teammates. And even though it wasn't explored much in the story, Sakura has a natural talent for genjutsu. Madara Uchiha. Madara saying that fighting the 5 Kage felt like playing with children is completely understandable. He grew up during the Warring States period, where battles were constant, and he had been fighting since he was just a child, at a time when the Kage were probably still learning basic jutsu. And in the end, with his overwhelming power, he became the leader of one of the most fearsome clans at a very young age. Madara's dominance was most clearly displayed during the Fourth Great Ninja War, where he single-handedly faced all 5 Kage and still crushed them effortlessly. When it comes to power, there's really not much to discuss. Simply put, he was just too strong. But Madara wasn't just a powerhouse in terms of physical strength and jutsu. He was also a master strategist. He had planned his own resurrection decades in advance, manipulated Obito, and laid the foundation for the entire infinite Tsukuyomi plan. Without Madara, there would be no Akatsuki as we know it, and there would be no Fourth Great Ninja War. He was always one step ahead of the world, and even after his death, his plans continued to unfold. We don't know if Madara's Sharingan had any unique abilities, but honestly, even if it didn't, the standard abilities alone were already broken beyond belief. And if anyone thought Madara had reached the peak of his power after obtaining the Rinnegan, they were wrong. When he absorbed the 10 Tails and became 6 Paths Madara, he ascended to a godlike level. Hashirama Senju. This is the god of shinobi, a man so powerful that even Madara Uchiha, his greatest rival, had to acknowledge him. Born during an era of constant war between clans, Hashirama displayed his talent from a young age. Unlike normal children, he possessed an enormous chakra reserve. His massive chakra allowed him to heal himself without even forming hand signs, making him an almost invincible war machine on the battlefield. But what truly made Hashirama ridiculously overpowered was his wood release, a unique Kekkei Genkai that elevated him to a level no one else could reach. Even those who tried to recreate it later, like Yamato or even Madara, couldn't come close to his mastery. In battle, Hashirama could take on entire battlefields by himself. His wood release techniques were on an enormous scale, and with sage art, Shinsu Senju, he could literally smack the Nine Tails and a fully armored Susanoo as if they were mere toys. Of course, he was a shinobi from Madara's era, and he defeated Madara in every battle they fought. He was simply the strongest ninja in the world, until the time of Naruto. Indra Otsutsuki. If we trace back the history of the shinobi world, no name carries more significance than Indra Otsutsuki, the eldest son of the Sage of Six Paths, the first true genius, and the creator of ninjutsu. Without Indra, modern-day ninja might still be relying solely on physical strength, clashing like primitive warriors. From a young age, Indra displayed talents far beyond those of his younger brother, Ashura. He possessed a sharp intellect, natural combat abilities, and immense power, all of which surpassed his peers. He was the first to transform chakra into ninjutsu, laying the foundation for the entire combat system that shinobi use today. Born with the powerful Otsutsuki bloodline, Indra awakened the Sharingan, which later became the symbol of the Uchiha clan. He was also the first person to use Susanoo. Although he was manipulated by Black Zetsu and recorded in history as a figure who brought conflict, no one can deny that Indra was a truly remarkable genius.